Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie, and today I will be talking to you about work stress. Work stress. It almost seems like it's another limb added to our anatomy, doesn't it? It's such a common part of our American culture, and most of us experience it in some form of way. Some of us through higher education, some of us going directly into work to sustain our families, but we all experience it. And there are several causes of stress. It's actually a really big problem. Maybe we experience stress because deadlines are quickly approaching, because we may have too much work or not enough and we get bored and that's stressful. Or maybe when we're not really sure about our role in a project or our true responsibilities, any of these above can really evoke a stress response within us. Today, I'm going to share a personal experience that highlights what many of us have probably felt in any of our occupations. I will touch bases on the principles presented in our IO psychology textbook, discuss research findings, and I will also present possible solutions to help us better cope with stress. So, the personal experience. About a year ago, I started working for a new company, and I quickly realized that this would require more from me. I basically trained myself because there was really no structure to the department. Many of my coworkers were dissatisfied with our work conditions. Um, there was really no clear structure on what our roles in the department were, better known as job ambiguity. Our supervisor, a lot of the time, gave us so many projects and assignments at a time, and not enough time. They were super short time frames, and we were experiencing work overload. On top of that, a lot of a greater part of our project we didn't really have control over. We we had to talk to customers on the phone and also at the same time produce regular office work, but this was all very time sensitive. So, the lack of control, the work overload, and the job ambiguity led to a reduction of our self efficacy. We started feeling less able, less skilled, less capable of really achieving the goals that were presented to us. What this caused was job burnout, which is basically the emotional withdrawal from your environmental conditions at work, and basically a lack of commitment. So, you physically and you emotionally withdraw. As this kept happening and things were just not improving, I started making excuses to not go into work, a concept formerly known as voluntary absenteeism. So this kept happening, nothing was getting better, so the only solution was to resign. So I did. According to the IO psychology textbook, the author, Ronald Biggio, says that work stress is a physiological and psychological reactions or arousals we have to events that we perceive as threatening to us or to our coping resources. So, physically, maybe we can have elevated blood pressure, our heartbeat can be faster, we can have rapid breathing, we can also be sweating, as the image shows to the right here. But he also mentions that stress is a highly perceptual process. And what he means by that is that one person can see a situation completely stressful and out of control, and then the next person will say, no, that's whatever, I can handle. He mentions two types of stressors, situational stressors and individual stressors, which I will touch base in a minute. But for example, situational stressors are further branched out into two types of stressors. That's work tasks and work roles. Work tasks, for example, the work overload that I mentioned earlier, that would be an example for work task stressor. And then a work role stressor example would be the job ambiguity. That means I wasn't really sure what I was supposed to be doing. But not everything is external, according to the author of the book. There are also individual stressors that are really attributable to our personal traits or our personalities. So, for example, if a person is hostile and wants to get things done so fast, and it makes him angry if he doesn't do it, this is what characterizes a personal trait he labels as a type A behavior person. Also, someone with personal traits such as susceptibility and resistance, maybe they can reconstruct the event into a little bit more doable, less stressful, and they can cope a little better with the situation. He also mentions that prolonged exposure to work stress can have adverse health effects. That's like the quicker onset of diseases, and really an impairment to our mental peace. According to research findings, I looked at a longitudinal study that investigated the relationship of subjective appraisal with worker stress. Basically, it was like a sample of over 2,000 British employees, and it was a 14-month study that gave them questionnaires that addressed the perceived causes and alleviations of work stress as the predictors to mental strain, which would be the criterion. The findings were that participants with higher levels of perceived stress at baseline had higher levels of mental strain during the follow up. Inner control was negatively correlated with mental strain, and it was actually the highest scoring mean for the alleviations for worker stress, while danger and pressure, which is like physical work environments and the pressure that your superiors may be inflicting on you, that was positively correlated with mental strain. So, what does this all tell us? According to the research in the book, what I gathered for the solution for my problem was maybe increase our sense of inner control through weekly or bi weekly motivational meetings. Also, I think that as the author of our textbook mentioned, we could reduce stress levels through daily 5-minute relaxation strategies. We can also implement a wellness program to encourage healthier and more active lifestyle among workers. And maybe we can have some sort of vacation rotation system to allow workers time away from the stressful working condition while allowing them to have control over their designated time. This does conclude my presentation, so if you have any questions, feel free to post below. And I do thank you so much for your time.